There's another story in here that I saw that caught my eye, and I just have to, we have to click on this one because this one is just, well, wow. Army pilot claims he distributed LSD for religious reasons. Now, before I scroll down and read the story, usually I give thoughts on the title. Surely this was something that wasn't sanctioned by the US Army or by our government or by anything of the sort. I refuse to believe that's the case. I refuse to believe that Uncle Sam had us distributing LSD for religious reasons, right? Which means the only other way you did this is if you stole a helicopter and started distributing LSD for your own religious reasons. Either way, the two things are happening here. Our government's weird, or you just committed a major criminal offense, and just like the last guy we just read, you're going to jail. An Army Black Hawk pilot who was indicted, yep, there it is. I was like, I know our government's not that fucking weird. You just committed a crime. An Army Black Hawk pilot who was indicted by a grand jury for allegedly distributing LSD argued in court he has the religious right to consume the psychedelic drug as a sacrament and sell it on the dark web. Dude, this guy's been hanging out with Alex Jones too much. Just a little bit. What the fuck are you talking about? What happened? What? Federal prosecutors accused First Lieutenant Kyle Norton Reister of conspiring with others to distribute 10 grams or more of LSD, according to an indictment filed April 24th by the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia. What happened to you, Kyle? What happened to you? Look at your bright future, your bright career, an Army Black Hawk pilot. Those helicopters are cool as fuck, and like one of the coolest, most badass war movies was about your helicopter. Black Hawk Down, man! And like, you have such a cool job, and you could have taken this. Sky's the limit for people like you, man. Sometime in the future, you could have been flying Marine One for the president. You don't know, but people like you end up places like that, right? These pilots are like, what happened to you, Kyle? Did you get a weird girlfriend and just like what happened to Colin Kaepernick, she turned you into something weird and now you're doing weird stuff? Their own lawsuit, Reister's attorney acknowledged he distributed LSD online, but countered that he did so in a sacramental form and only to other individuals who used it for religious reasons. Reister and his attorneys are attempting to fight his prosecution on religious freedom grounds. I don't think you're gonna win that, bro. You can't use religion to distribute illicit drugs, man. You can use your religion for a lot of things, but I'm sorry, that's not gonna happen. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think he's gonna be... They sued unsuccessfully to receive an emergency injunction that aimed to block the government from indicting him. In the lawsuit, Reister's attorney said he has a sincerely held belief that LSD is a sacrament, which allows him to commune with God, and is necessary for his continued spiritual growth and development. Let the man have his LSD, but put him on probation for like the next 5 years, and if he just so happens to even sell a sliver of it to anyone, even if it's to an imaginary person, lock him up. He also believes Bitcoin to be sacred. You know what? Never mind. Forget what I just said. You need to throw this guy. You need to throw this guy in the loony house. I was willing to budge on LSD being your religion, but you lost me at Bitcoin. Are you fucking high? Yeah, as fuck. There's no way, man. Because it allows him to distribute allegedly sacramental LSD to others who share his beliefs. I feel like you're just using religious beliefs to traffic LSD. I think. And I don't think it's gonna work, man. The case turns a spotlight on the entheogenic movement, the adherents of which use psychoactive substances like hallucinogenic mushrooms, ayahuasca, or other psychedelics as part of religious rituals or to achieve a meditative or spiritual state. Native Americans did stuff like this, right? Way back when they first came on this land. And that's part of like their culture, I believe, to a degree. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. But like, I mean, I guess if they can do it, man, I mean, I suppose in the age of being able to identify with whatever the fuck you want, man, I guess this guy identifies as LSD being his religion. Are we gonna let him have it, or are we gonna say, fuck no, you're weird, you're gonna go to jail for a little while, and you need psychiatric evaluation? But just as long as he's not behind the helm of a Black Hawk, then I'm good, bro. I could give a fuck either way. The federal government classified LSD as a Schedule 1 drug, meaning the substance is not recognized as serving an accepted medical use and is labeled as having a high potential for abuse. Oh shit. The government has in recent years conducted studies on the potential therapeutic uses of drugs such as MDMA. Right. But only for such soldiers that would require such a treatment or such a drug. Meaning, like, either mild to severe PTSD that has involuntary episodes. Right? But for a guy that just wants to get closer to God, man, you gotta love each other with LSD, bruh. Like, I don't think so. You know, so LSD is barred in the military. Its use was once rare enough among troops that in 2006, the Pentagon's former top counter-narcotics officer cut testing for it from the Defense Department's standard drug testing panel. So for a time there, the usage of LSD was so rare among soldiers that the military said, you know what? We're not going to test for this because testing for this stuff costs money, by the way. It's not free. Drug testing costs money, right? And the more complicated the test, the more money it costs. The more complicated the drug, the more money it costs. The difficulty of finding it, the more money it costs, right? So for instance, testing for marijuana is a lot cheaper and easier than testing for something like acid, right? In the military. In a memo announcing the change at the time, former defense official Richard Douglas said that over a 3-year period, only 4 drug tests out of more than 2 million had tested positive for LSD. Yeah, dude, when I was in the service, I wanted no part of LSD. It wouldn't have mixed well with the drugs that I was already taking, if I'm being completely honest. LSD was just not one of those things. I feel like you'll find more ecstasy in the system of soldiers than you would LSD. That's just not really my thing. It wasn't my friend's thing at all, and judging by this article, it's not really the thing of most soldiers, man. It's not. But over the past decade, a series of embarrassing incidents involving LSD prompted the Pentagon to pay more attention to service members' illicit use of the drug, especially if they're behind the cockpit of a Black Hawk. You imagine the ramifications, the downright shit show that would happen if a fucking pilot high on LSD crashed on American soil and killed innocent people with his aircraft. Lord have mercy. And to be honest, pilots should get tested for everything. I know that they said that in 2006, LSD was so rare that they didn't test for it, and it makes sense, right? Why spend money on something that you don't need to spend money on? I get it. And especially if not a lot of soldiers are doing it, whatever. Only test for the stuff that truly matters. But when it comes to pilots, I feel like this should be an all-encompassing test to where they test for every single little thing. Because if I fuck up an MRAP on the range, I just fucked up an MRAP on the range. No one cares, no one knows, no one probably even got hurt, maybe whoever was in the vehicle. But like if I get the bitch stuck, or I roll it, or something like that, you see incidents happen on a military installation all the time. Right? And that's cool because it's contained to the military installation. But these pilots, bro, they go everywhere across the country. So for them to... Nah, man. That's wild. So, in 2016, security forces airmen at F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming, whose jobs entitled guarding nuclear missile bases, were busted for buying, distributing, and using LSD and other drugs. Wow. Guarding nuclear missiles. I'm gonna be honest, man, I don't know too much about LSD except for the fact that I've never really wanted to try it, and to be completely honest, I don't even know the effects of LSD. I don't even know how far the effects of LSD go. I don't even know what it makes you feel like. All I know is that I've never wanted to try it because every single time someone brought up LSD, it was either my parents or a teacher, right? And every time they brought it up, they always brought it up in conversation with drugs like PCP, and meth, and heroin. They always mentioned LSD with those other drugs. So in my head, I was like, that drug is just as bad as those other drugs, and I would never touch those drugs, so naturally, I'm not gonna touch this drug. And anything with like a name, PCP, LSD, HIV, I don't want any part of it. If it has those types of like three-letter names like that, I don't want it. If it has an abbreviation, I don't want it. That's just like, no. And if you have to ingest it with a needle, I doubly don't fucking want it. Reister alleged in his lawsuit that the federal government violated his rights under the Religious Freedom Restoration Act by raiding his home last August, issuing him a reprimand, ordering him to cooperate with federal law enforcement, and attempting to prosecute him for alleged conspiracy to distribute LSD. No. When you're in the military, you don't have rights to violate. How can you violate his rights when you don't even have rights to violate in the first place? You don't have rights as a soldier. You don't have freedom. You don't even own your body. Try to grow a beard, I dare you. Female soldiers, go to work with a shit ton of makeup on. I dare you. And earrings and your nails all crazy. Do it, I dare you. You have no say. You go where they tell you to go, you eat where they tell you to eat, you breathe how they tell you to breathe, you sit when they tell you to sit, and you shoot when they tell you to shoot. That's it. Bro, you're not a person, man. People in the military think they have free will. Again, I thought the same thing when I was in the service, and it took me a long time, man. And it took me a long time of being in the service, and it took me a long time of being out of the service to realize that, retrospect and thinking back and, hindsight is always 2020. Bro, you're not a person. You don't even have a face. You're just a piece of meat with cloth around it. That's it. That's how you're seen. You don't have rights. You don't have freedoms. You don't have the freedom of speech. You don't have the freedom of expression. You don't have the fucking nothing. And the only people that would get a religious exemption is people that wear some kind of headwear. So your Muslims, your Indians, stuff like that. Maybe they can get a religious exemption for their headwear and stuff like that. And most people, they'd be like, whatever, right? But for this, probably not, man. You can't have this religion. You can't have this exemption. And guess what? If they do give you this exemption, you will never pilot a helicopter. So what is even the point? What is even the point? You're gonna have to get out of the service, dog. You can't be here. And if they do give it to you as a religious exemption, congrats. It's a religious exemption, but you can't fly planes. You stay in the service, I guess, but you can't fly planes. It's like, that don't make no sense. It was filed April 3rd against multiple Defense Department and federal government officials. A district court judge in Alexandria, Virginia rejected those arguments, as I figured, April 23rd, clearing the way for federal prosecutors to indict him. The Washington Post, which first reported the case, said prosecutors alleged in the April 23 hearing that Reister sent almost 1,800 shipments of LSD to purchasers online and collected almost $122,000 from sales. Funny thing about God, he did not deal in money. That's like the whole thing. If you were all about God and this was religion, what do you need $122,000 for? That's it. If you want to get closer to God, bro, you're so full of shit. Man, you know what you should do? Instead of selling LSD to religious weirdos, you should just become a megachurch preacher. You're the perfect person for it. You're full of shit, and all you do is spew bullshit. You should be a preacher. You should be one of those dudes with the fucking 20,000 square foot building with hundreds of dummies going in there to listen to you lie to them. You'd be the perfect person for this. Because you want to get closer to God, yet you still raking in fucking bang. Look at this. 122 grand, bro. Just like those mega preachers. They don't give a fuck about the religion. It's money, money, money. Judge at hearing denied his request for injunction to prevent his prosecution, the Washington Post reported, and said that even in his spiritual beliefs on the consumption of LSD were genuine, it's far from clear that sincere religious belief would extend to the indiscriminate selling of LSD on the dark web. Exactly. Even if we were to agree that you can do this spiritually right? And this is part of your religion, it still doesn't allow you to sell it and to profit from it, because no one is allowed to profit from shit until Uncle Sam does it first. How do you not know this? Reister's attorney said he never piloted helicopters while under the influence of LSD. I find that super hard to believe. Just like I don't believe the drunk driver that says, "Officer, this is my first time. I've never done this before. This is not like me." Oh, believe me, it's like you, and you've done it so much, it's downright disgusting. They argued the government's actions are causing ongoing irreparable harm to his religious exercise, conscience, and reputation. Bro, you're selling an illicit drug. You fucked your reputation on your own. Everything that comes after this is 100% entirely on you. By forcing him to stop his religious practices and potentially ending his military career with a dishonorable discharge. This guy's out of his mind. You want to remain a first lieutenant in the United States Army as a Black Hawk pilot whilst retaining a religious exemption that allows you to do LSD for spiritual purposes. Bro, my answer is not only no, but it's a hard fuck no with a capital F. There's no way. Because if we do it for you, we gotta do it for him. And if we do it for him, we gotta do it for her. And if we do it for her, we gotta do it for them. And if we do it for them, we gotta do it for everybody. And now the whole army is on LSD. Bro, no. It's a stupid precedent to set. It's a slippery slope. And you're out of your fucking mind. How they haven't put you in a straitjacket already is beyond me. Reister had asked the court to declare a permanent injunction on the government. You're out of your fucking mind. And then you have the balls to be like, oh, and by the way, I want to put forth this paperwork that makes it to where the government can never prosecute me and I can never be removed from service. You can't have your cake and eat it too, dog. That's insane. You're so unreasonable. It's crazy, and the military is going to give you a big fuck no. It's gonna be hilarious. I already know the outcome to this, but like the gall behind this man, the audacity, the just like the nerve. He continued to sacramentally consume LSD. The suit said, okay. Those experiences ranging from between 8 to 12 hours helped him reach religious and mystical states, and allowed him to consult divine forces and entities which guide and instruct him on how to live in accordance with his higher spiritual self and higher spiritual path. Jesus Christ. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I know that I've gotten really high before and had like an existential crisis. Like sometimes I've gotten so high that I felt like that lady on the plane. That motherfucker back there is not real. I've gotten so high that like I've done that, but once I was no longer high, I was just like, it's just a fucking fire hydrant. Oh my god, I was so stoned. I'm so stupid. You know what I mean? But like 8 to 12 hours high, that sounds exhausting. Bro, you know how pissed off I would be if I hit the blunt and I was high for 12 hours? That seems exhausting. That does not seem fun. No, bro, that seems terrible. That feels like work. 8 to 12 hours? I'm not even getting overtime. Not even time and a half, just fucking... Nah, it should be illegal to be that high. And I'm so glad it is. But during COVID-19 lockdowns, the suit said, it became difficult for Reister and others who share his belief to gather in person to practice their religion. The pandemic also caused stress and isolation, hence the selling it and the what seems like trafficking, but they couldn't go anywhere. So naturally, he became his own Amazon Prime of LSD. Now, if the government started taxing him on all the LSD that he sold, I'm pretty sure they would let him, because the government loves taxes. But yeah, not even here. Not even in this situation. Reister felt compelled in accordance with the divine guidance and instruction he had received while communing with LSD to assist others in sacramental access to their shared sacrament during this time. I swear to fucking God, if I have to read the word sacrament one more time in this article, at this point it doesn't even sound like a drug. It sounds like a sports team. Yo, you hear about that new basketball team? Sacramento LSDs. Yeah, crazy. Play the Lakers this Friday. In May 2024, as COVID-19 restrictions eased and access to sacrament-grade LSD expanded. What? Did you make the LSD with cut up pieces of the Bible? I don't know what that means. Sacrament grade? Military grade means shit, right? State of the art means amazing. Sacrament grade? I can't even trust it based off the name. No, dude. I feel like one of the fucking ghosts from The Conjuring is gonna come out whenever I smoke it and fucking eat my asshole. Like, nah. It sounds so bad. It sounds worse than fentanyl. It sounds scary. It sounds like something you would hear in the show Supernatural. Really. Seems like dealing with some fucking junky ass ghosts. They're on this fucking sacrament grade LSD. It's wild. 3 months later, agents from the FBI, Army Criminal Investigation Department, U.S. Postal Service. Oh yeah, because they're male. I was like, what? That was such a wild cameo that they just made in here. Fucking Postal Service. And other organizations raided Rice for Springfield, Virginia apartment looking for LSD trafficking evidence, the lawsuit said. Rice's attorney said this search did not turn up LSD, but agents seized his passport and electronics and ordered him to submit to a urinalysis with CID. What, do you even really need to go through that urinalysis? It's clear as day this motherfucker's taking LSD. He told you. You know he is. Like, he said it. Yeah, I take it. I love taking it. I love taking it all the time. It's part of my religion. It helps me talk to God. Is the urinalysis, I mean, it's gonna be standard for the investigation. You need to have it on file, but I really think that's just fucking that's kind of a waste of time at this point. We know. Everyone knows. Reister is also under indictment in the Southern District of Texas on at least one charge related to fraudulent Bitcoin transfer. I'm sorry, but I don't think God would scam people with Bitcoin. So this whole thing is just, this whole religious shit is such a front. You're like using religion whilst committing crimes, man. Come on. And expecting the army to give you an exemption. Oh man. The army, bro, the same organization that you break your leg and they give you Tylenol, and you want a religious exemption for LSD. You must not know what government entity you're fucking with. But you're on LSD. I don't really think you're doing much thinking. So, Reister is now on bond in Texas, and his pretrial release conditions prohibit him from using controlled substances such as LSD, which substantially burdens plaintiff's sincere religious exercise. Reister's commanding officer ordered him to cooperate with the federal government shortly after the August 2024 raid on his apartment, Lake said. At that point, he was coerced by law enforcement into gathering information on dark web dealers, attempts to sell fake oxycodone pills made with fentanyl, Lake claimed. Well, yeah. If you want the government to take it easy on you as far as punishment, you are going to help the government. I mean, this is textbook government. So, you've been selling these drugs, I see. Okay, cool. Well, here's the deal, Jack. You're looking at so-and-so time, so-and-so demotion, so-and-so discharge, so-and-so this, right? We can cut this in half, we can remove this, we can nix that, and we can negotiate this. All you have to do is do something for us. I mean, this is textbook government right here. I don't even know. Are you saying this because, like, are you saying the government is wrong for doing this? Bro, they will do this. They'll do this to us. They'll do this to the enemy. They don't give a shit. They'll play good cop, bad cop all day. Reister's dark web account had credits showing it was used to sell LSD, Lake said, which law enforcement may have felt gave him credibility as he attempted to gather information on fentanyl dealers. Lake said Reister did not participate in sting operations on those dealers, but pried for information on their manufacturing and distribution protocols and suppliers. This wasn't something natural with him. What, snitching? Yeah, snitching is not natural for any of us, but when it's your ass on the fucking line and you're staring down the barrel of a hella long sentence and no one's looking out for you and no one has your back and no one's standing up to speak on your behalf, yeah. So, this wasn't something natural with him. Lake said of Reister's attempts to contact fentanyl dealers. Well, what on top of that, yeah, too, he might be good at selling it, but actually contacting people and sparking a conversation and leading a conversation to happen for an extended amount of time to pry information you wouldn't otherwise try to get from this person could prove quite difficult for someone that doesn't have training in that type of environment with those types of parameters and specifications. So, yeah, he probably didn't do all that good. Mr. Reister was actually part of a dark web forums that were full of spiritual seekers using psychedelic substances for religious, spiritual purposes and trying to do so safely. That's the community he was a part of. All this other stuff was forced upon him. Well, you stuck out, bro. You stuck out, man. And if the military and if the government can use you, they will. And if you're in a bind, they'll exploit you. And if your back's up against the wall, they'll squeeze your arm. And if you're met with an impossible decision, they'll punch you until you make one. So, like, the Reister's lawyer is like saying a whole bunch of things and saying it in a way that's like trying to make the government look bad, but this is the way the government operates. It's how the government's always operated, and most of us know this, and most of us are okay with this, right? It's no different than the NSA or the FBI finding a little 16, 17-year-old kid that's hacking his ass off and fucking with people and bringing down FBI databases. And the FBI, instead of throwing this little fucker in jail, they're just like, hey, listen, we could throw you in jail until you're 50. Or you could work for us. You know? So they've done it time and time again, and that's what they're going to do here. If they can catch criminals with bait, they will. And if they can use you to catch more people that are doing wrong shit, they will. The lawyer's just trying to make it seem like the government is just, you know? If Reister is convicted of LSD distribution, which he's 100% guilty of it, he admitted it, it was proven. So yeah, he could be forced to forfeit property involved in the commission of the alleged crime, including cryptocurrency, a rifle, a shotgun, 2 pistols, magazines, and ammunition, among other penalties, according to the indictment. Do you see why we can't let you have LSD? Kyle. That's his name, right? Kyle. Do you see why we can't let you have LSD? What does this sound like to you? And then dude. Cryptocurrency. Rifles, shotguns, 2 pistols, magazines, ammunition, among other shit. What does that sound like? What is that? And you throw religious shit into the mix of that with drugs? What does that sound like to you? That sounds like every fucking raid that the government has done on some religious crazy fucking people right before like something catastrophic or death or killing or, you know what I mean? Good ever happens. So like, you can't have LSD, man. And the story's over. You can't have LSD. The government wants to dance with this guy in court. They're gonna win, but still, why waste the time? Just kick him out. It's not even worth the... He's unreasonable, weird, crazy, on drugs, and from what I read, I don't think he's mentally fit to be in the service.